In 2014, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children sent approximately 1 million leads regarding child sexual abuse. By 2023, that number had jumped to approximately 35.9 million. I am Dave Alley. I am a married father of 4. I've been married to my high school sweetheart since 2005. I've got 4 beautiful kids.
Born and raised here in Michigan?
Right here in St. Clair.
You started off working as a barista, is that correct?
So I did. I was going to Michigan State and I was employed at Big B Coffee as a barista, and I was also employed at 2 different mattress stores as a mattress salesman.
What do you enjoy about being a family man?
The greatest thing I do every day is being a father. I love my job, I love what I do, but being a father is the most important thing to me.
Has that been the motivation for your current job?
Very much so. All kids deserve to grow up happy, healthy, with a positive childhood. I am a special agent with Homeland Security Investigations in Detroit. I work in the child exploitation unit.
Dave joined HSI 17 years ago. For the last 10 years, he has been investigating crimes against children.
In these 10 years, what has changed?
We are seeing more and more tips coming in, cases coming in. We are inundated with victims, with offenders. There is so much more access to both the internet and to materials.
The State Department defines child exploitation as victims under the age of 18 used in a sexual act including pornography, sex trafficking, and sextortion, among others. Dave examines evidence from these heinous crimes as part of his investigation to get to the perpetrators.
Every time you see it, it's horrific to a degree. But the first time is absolutely a shock. We have a number of programs they have to help take care of agents who have to work these kinds of cases.
Last year, HSI alone investigated nationally close to 7,000 child exploitation cases, which led to the arrest of nearly 5,000 suspects, of which 121 cases came from Michigan, with 64 of those from the Metro Detroit area.
What is the commonality behind these predators?
We see professionals, we see people who are living in mom's basement. We see it all across every age, race, socioeconomic status. The commonality that I would say is a sexual interest in children.
Throughout his career, Dave has arrested over 100 predators.
Every time I make an arrest, every time a lead that I send out results in an arrest, I write the name of my offender on a poker chip and put it in this jar.
There's also a color system as well.
So there is. Everyone I've arrested, everyone gets a white chip.
Black?
Some of the worst offenders I've ever arrested.
Green?
Green are the offenders from a particularly difficult case that I had at Christmas time 2 years ago. Blue, if I've arrested you twice, you get a blue chip.
I see 2 red chips.
These are the 2 worst offenders I've ever arrested.
Here in Michigan?
Here in Michigan. One was a hands-on offender committing violent acts against numerous children he had access to. The other is a sextortionist who had dozens and dozens of victims across the world, threatening them with physical harm if they didn't produce videos that he was interested in.
The first red poker chip is for 60-year-old Michael Pierce from Lake Orion, who was sentenced to 90 years in federal prison. Meanwhile, 34-year-old Colin Martin from Central Line was sentenced to 40 years, also in a federal prison. Both pled guilty.
Does anything shock you now?
So probably every 6 months, I see something and say, that's it. That's the worst thing I'll ever see. And then 6 months will go by and I'll say, okay, well, that's it. That's the worst thing I'll ever see. So I don't know that there's an upper limit. I make it a point to, when I put a name on the jar, right, that my wife is around, that my kids are around, they can sort of see the quantification of the good that I'm trying to do.
You know, when you come home and you give your kids a hug and your wife a hug, that would probably mean a lot more.
Without question. No 2 ways around it, right? Especially after a tough day or a tough case, right? It's important to have this support system that I'm fortunate to have.
As the investigation continues for numerous other cases, Dave says there is only so much law enforcement can do.
Where do you think parents are making a mistake?
I think by and large it's a lack of knowing what their kids are doing on their devices. And it's not lazy parenting, it's not bad parenting, it's just a lack of knowledge of what a particular app may do, that a particular app may be safe or not safe.
For 7 News Detroit, I'm Faraz Javed.